Alright guys, welcome back to Algos Made Simple. Have a Leetcode medium problem for today that I think is exceptionally easy, even though we're probably doing it with a less than ideal efficiency on the code that we're going to utilize for this, but I think it's extremely simple code, and that's why I want to use it for this problem, because I think it's something that'll be very easy to wrap your head around and very easy to utilize, and I think it'll be just fine for an interview. So without further ado, let's dive in here. It's Leetcode 49, group anagrams. Given an array of strings, strs, group the anagrams together. You can return the answer in any order. An anagram is a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of a different word or phrase, typically using all the original letters exactly once. So I'd let the interviewer know I'm going to be giving an array of strings, of different strings, and I want to group the ones that are anagrams of each other together, so that are made up of the exact same word or letters, and I want to group them together and then return a list with them grouped together. So as you can see here, you got strings, eat, tea, tan, ate, nat, bat. Bat's out here, nat, tan are together, ate, eat, tea are together. They're all made up of the same ones. So of course there's no anagram with bat. Bat's doesn't have tab or something like that. And then you just see down here that you have strings, it's nothing, so you're returning a list of nothing. So what is our game plan going to be? Well, a good place to start when you're comparing anything, because we're going to be comparing the letters in words to letters in other words to see if they're anagrams of each other. If you're doing some kind of comparison to something, you need to look at something, you need to do a lookup, it's a really good idea to use some sort of set, a list, etc., etc. We're going to use a hash map called anagrams. We're going to set it equal to empty hash map. The other thing that's going to be obvious is we need to go through each one of these strings and take a look at them. So we're going to have a for loop for string in strings. Alright, the next thing that makes sense is I can't tell if eat and tea are made up of the same letters. I mean, if it was a longer word, I wouldn't be able to tell, unless they were sorted from top to bottom. They were sorted top to bottom. It makes it very easy to see if they're the same or not. So what I'd like to do when I'm messing with this string from strings, I would like to sort the string. So I'd have to use the sorted function on string, and then of course join it back together so it's still a string. So make a sorted string, something like this right here, sorted string, and have it equal to, and use the dot join function. The reason I'm doing that is so you can't just use the string dot sort. It doesn't have that because it's a string and not a list. So you use that sorted, which would take all the characters in the string, sort them out. Then you have to use the dot join to put it back together as a string, and you're joining it to this empty string. So that's why we're utilizing those particular things in Python. The next thing you'd have to do once you have your sorted string, we would just simply check to see, hey, is this sorted string in my anagrams already? If it is, then I'm going to go anagrams, and at that sorted string, so at that index, I'll just simply append that string. Okay. If it's not in there, I'm going to start its own thing for it, and I'll just say equals instead of appends, and that's where I'll put the string out there until we'll have started something for it. So once I've done that and gone through all these, it's going to be very short, very simple code. Then I have to return this in a list, so I'm just going to simply go something like return list, and it's going to be a list of the anagrams.values. So this particular game plan is pretty much the code in here. Normally, my game plan is a little bit more high level on these and don't really go straight into the code. But this one right here, it's, again, super short, super simple code for this one. So that's why the game plan is kind of just basically the code. So we got function group anagrams, and we're getting a list of strings, so strings in a list, and we're going to have our anagrams hash map, so we got something to look up to and to check and to append values to, and then we're going to say simply for string in strings, strs, that's getting passed through here, so we're looking at every single string, and then we're going to, of course, once we have that for loop, we got to do something with it. So we're going to say sorted string equals, and so we're using that dot join, and we're sorting the string. And again, I told you guys this was not the most time complexity efficient one because we are using that sort function, which is O in log n. But I think for a medium problem like this, And as simple as this code is going to be, I think it's what I would bring to the table just for this particular problem. You got to kind of pick your spots with these, and I think this one is very easy to remember and wrap your head around, so this is what I would go with. But of course, if there are higher level solutions that make more sense to you, that are easier and more simplistic to you, then I would definitely utilize them. If you've got a higher level solution that you can put in the comments that might be easier for me or easier for anybody else, please do so. But anyway, getting back into here, if sorted string is in anagrams. We talked about checking to see if it's in anagrams. That's the whole point of getting the sorted string. So if it's in there, if it's so there's already been a sorted string like this, then we just really want to come here and say, okay, and we don't have to necessarily be appending these strings to here. We could be like upping a value or something like that. We have the sorted string set equal to 1 the first time we find it, and then be going plus equal 1 for the value or something like that. But anyway, we're going to say, and using the .get function to get the value, blah, 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 whatever. There's different ways to do it. We're just going to keep it simple. Append the string. Or sort of string, append. Yeah, append the string. Alright, so once we've done that, or if we can do that, that's excellent. If we can't, if it's the very first time we've seen this one, then we're just going to simply say, okay, anagrams, sorted string, and we're going to start a position for it, and we're going to have the string be the very first thing that's in there, and then we'll append other strings later on as we find them if they are there. So after all that, we've got our values in the hash map. We just have to, we can't just return the values though, we have to return them as a list. So we just simply say return list, and we put in parentheses anagrams dot values, and that will return all of these groupings in this format. So it'll take the value at that first anagram, which would be the bat, and it'll return that list that's in a list because we have a list right here on the outside, and then it'll take that next value, which is a list, and it'll be within this list, and the next one. So that is perfect code for this one. Very, very easy, very simplistic, really easy to wrap your head around. It's something that you can put in just little keynotes, sort string, check to see if it's in anagrams, and if it is, append it. If it's not, start something for it, and then just return the list of anagram values. Easy enough. So thanks, guys. I'm not going to spend any more time on this one. We're going to be on to the next one, and we'll just keep rocking and rolling.